Everyone, so today I want to do a dedicated video on my experience with the Makeup Forever Aqua Seal. It's such an old school product and honestly it's pretty magical. I picked it up I think on sale last year and it's basically a liquid formula that once it dries down, it basically locks in whatever you want to use. Makeup Forever is actually, I think, developed this mainly for synchronized swimmers, which is funny because I used to do synchro. I'm actually getting back into synchro and I can see myself using this a lot more. So I've been testing it out for the last few weeks and I found a few different methods that I've been using it and I want to share it with everybody. So I will be basically doing swatches on my hand along the way and applying it to my face, and hopefully by the end of like this quote tutorial we can test the swatches and see how well or not it combines with different products. And it's a little bit of an experimentation, so what I'm doing today might or might not work for you, and I think it's sometimes has to do with the ratio between like the product you're using, the formulation of the product, and how much of this Aqua Seal you're using too. So lots of things to experiment with. So no guarantees. I'm not saying that what I'm doing today is going to be like perfect or is going to be 100%, you know, guaranteed. I still have yet to like test this in the water and like be swimming with stuff. But I think it is very promising is what I'm trying to say. So first off, I'm nearly barefaced. I have like a tiny bit of concealer on. I have a little bit of like lip product on. I have my sunscreen on, but I want to bring you through the few things that I've been using with my Aqua Seal. So first off, I use like a little cap or something, and I usually put about 3 drops, and that's enough for almost everything. I actually put 4, almost everything I need to use it for. So I'm going to take my concealer. I've been using this cream one, the stick one from Revlon. Not my favorite, but it works for the purposes of this. So I'm first gonna I just basically apply it to my brush. This is actually a paintbrush that I picked up at Michael's. I apply the product to the paintbrush first, then at the very tip of it, I mix in a little bit of the Aqua Seal. And then I'm gonna actually apply this first swatch to the back of my hand, just so by the end of the tutorial we can come back and see if this smudges or not, which I find that if you're mixing with cream products, it might have a tendency to smudge or like to wear off. I don't know if it wears off any differently than like if you were actually like without it or not. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think that it at least prolongs its longevity, even if it doesn't make it bulletproof, which sometimes we want that magic formula to like make it bulletproof, but when is there anything in the world that is going to be that magical? Sometimes we just need something just to like beef it up a little bit. And I'll explain in some of my other methods how it might help products, but not necessarily like fix them, if that's what we're trying to say. All right, so we have our swatch. We applied a little bit of concealer on the face. Now I'm gonna just wipe off my brush. Sometimes on a paper towel, I put in a little bit of, this is the MAC brush cleanser. This is honestly my favorite cleanser. I'm sure there's other ones out there that are even better, but this does really well. And Aqua Seal does have a tendency to also like once it sets, it sets. And this makeup cleanser is actually able to break it up. So I honestly haven't tried it with anything else. I haven't tried it with like the other options of like, you know, detergent, olive oil and stuff. I'm sure it could work, but I tend to like at least rinse it or like clean it off pretty promptly, just so the product doesn't like set literally on the brush and harden it. All right, so the next thing is eyeshadow, or eyeshadow base actually. So I've been using the MAC paint pot in Groundwork a lot, and it in itself is already like, once it sets, it's pretty good, but sometimes I want to just have the extra I guess security that I won't move around. Also, I mix in other eyeshadow bases sometimes, and so sometimes I don't know the longevity of those, but I am just gonna dip into it. So I have some like other eyeshadow pencils that I put in there, and then the actual brown part is there. So I'm going to be mixing a little bit of both. And again, this is the fun of like makeup artistry. You get to mix, and then it's nice that the Aqua Seal is able to like cement it down a little bit. So again, I have some product on the brush. I'm going to mix in just a little bit. I wish you could see what I'm doing in here. Basically, there's like a blob of the Aqua Seal, and then basically around the edge, I'm starting to mix in like the stuff that I'm putting in it. And again, I'm going to do a swatch here. Let me do it like looking at it so I know where I'm placing it. So that's the swatch there, and then I'm going to grab a bit more for my own eyes and mix in just a little bit more. So it really feels like painting. It's really quite fun. I'm going to apply that all over my lid. A little bit on the other side there. Okay. Again, I'm going to clean off my brush because I do not want this to set. All right. The next thing is, and probably what it's actually made for, is for eyeshadow. So today I think I'm going to go in with, this shadow has always been a little bit tricky, so this is always a good one to use it on, is my House Labs palette. And this foil eyeshadow is so pretty, but the shimmer in it just tends to migrate. And I find that this helps a little bit. It's still not bulletproof. It doesn't like fix it and like lock in the shimmer. I think there's something about glitters and shimmers that just like don't always stay put. There's always like a little bit that flake off. Like the base color will stay, but like a little bit will still migrate, right? If anybody has experience with that, I think you know what I'm talking about. So again, I'm gonna load up my brush. And funny enough, I find the Makeup Forever Aqua Seal to actually like make it not as potent, which like upon first watch, it can be really, this color can be really, really strong. But for some reason, using it with Aqua Seal kind of shears it out, which is kind of nice. I don't know if you can tell, like that's it right there with Aqua Seal. And usually if I like swatch with my finger, I'll do it on the side on my wrist here. It's like really, really potent. And sometimes that's a little bit too much for me. So I think understanding that, I actually don't mind using it with the Aqua Seal and allowing it to shear it out in that way. I might need to add a few more drops of Aqua Seal, but let me put this all over my lid first. All right. And then I'm gonna again clean off my brush, top up on my Aqua Seal because it is, sometimes it dries down a little bit faster than I need it to, but honestly, you use so little, like the whole bottle's gonna last you close to a lifetime. So again, these are our swatches so far. All right, next up here is, you can of course use it with eyeliner as well. Let me see if I have my eyeliner brush with me here. I might have put it away, but I might be able to get away with this little brush. This brush is honestly so versatile. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of eyeliner then, probably with this darkest one here, kind of like a shadow liner. And again, load up my brush, do a little bit of Aqua Seal, and I will show you guys on the back of my hand. Sorry, just trying to really, it seems so weak sauce, but I'm okay with this because honestly, I just need a shadow liner. I think the formulation on these eyeshadows isn't actually super duper pigmented, especially these other shades, or especially these darker shades. And so I don't really expect it to be super duper pigmented, but hopefully it'll at least give me the effect I'm looking for. All right, so I think that's good for that. All right, let's see what else is here. So I don't really do it to my blushes and my bronzers, so let me just pop on a little something for that. So I'm going to change some makeup. The makeup basket's so loud, I'm so sorry. So I feel like you could mix this with like your blushes and bronzers as well, but I haven't done that yet, and like, I'm just trying to show you the versatility of the product and not necessarily in every single thing I use it for. All right, I think that will do for now. And then I think the other thing I want to show you is with some lipstick. So I will be using my lipstick palette here, and I will be doing kind of a custom mix of things. So again, loading up the product onto my brush first, and then mixing it in with the Aqua Seal, just a tiny bit. And then I will swatch it here. So that's the lipstick on there. And I've also seen some people like apply the lipstick first and then apply the Aqua Seal on top, which I actually haven't done yet. I feel like it's much, like I would be much more confident in the performance that Aqua Seal can give me if I mix it in with the product, rather than letting it just sit on top and not knowing if it can actually seal in like all the different layers and other things that I'm doing with it too. And honestly, like feeling on my lips, it's a really like slippery formula. It's not sticky. It's almost feels like an oil going on. So obviously let that dry if it dries. And I am not going to put a ton of like promises with the lip one, just because I feel like just naturally by what you eat and by what you drink, and you know what you do with your lips throughout the day, like it just naturally will wear off. And it's not like the Aqua Seal isn't like a bulletproof formula like I mentioned before. It helps with a lot of things. I feel like it helps things wear down much more evenly, but overall it's still a makeup product, and it's supposed to be washed off at the end of the day, right? So it's not like a tattoo. So the last two things I'm not going to show you on camera, but I have found really interesting is that because it's a fixing product, right, that I can actually use it to help non-waterproof mascaras become a little bit more waterproof, or at least like not as smudgy under my eyes. And as well as mixing it in with like my setting spray, if it's not supposed to be like a fixing setting spray, then it actually kind of becomes a fixing setting spray. At least that's the theory, because I don't really find a difference between non-fixing sprays and actual fixing sprays. I hope that it helps, but that's not how I look at my makeup throughout the day, and I don't usually apply so heavy amount of makeup that it looks all that different by the end of the day, or it looks like it has naturally worn off, right? And I don't expect a fixing spray to like keep it on my face. In terms of the mascara, like I said, it makes it less smudgy, but a non-waterproof mascara is going to be a non-waterproof mascara at the end of the day. There's you know, other ingredients and waxes and other things that help boost a formula from non-waterproof to waterproof. If anything, those two formulations are completely different, right? And I don't want to put it on the Aqua Seal to like be the magic thing to like suddenly transform a non-waterproof into a waterproof mascara when the formulations at its baseline are already completely different. So that's what I have to say about that. I've honestly been really, really impressed by this, and I do plan on incorporating this into my makeup from time to time, and especially if I'm swimming and things, like to be continually testing it out. And I'll give you guys an update when I have one. So now for the final test, we will test out to see how it did. I'm a little nervous, but let's start from the beginning. So this is the concealer, which you can barely see now, but if I go like that, it seems to smudge just a little bit, but it's definitely like leaving pigment behind. Like even if I go kind of hard, it's still, yeah, it's still like leaving pigment behind. I don't know if you can tell that. The second one was the eyeshadow base, which already had some holding power. But honestly, like that's pretty good. This is the eyeshadow. Sorry, it's not focusing properly. I think I just need to cover my whole face. But that's pretty good, especially because this is the one on its own. And you can tell like that one smudges and this one's not moving around a ton. The shimmer is flaking off on my fingertips. So again, like I said, it's not holding the shimmer back, but it is like holding that base color intact. Okay, I'm gonna use a cleaner finger. I don't have a cleaner finger. This one is the shadow liner. And that one honestly is pretty good. I'm kind of like digging in there. And yeah, like when I really dig in there, it starts to wear off, but It's not that bad. The lipstick, I mean, kinda. So yeah, it's wearing off a little bit, but it's not as smudgy, I guess. Like you can still see there left like kind of a hint of a line. So again, I think just how emollient lipstick is, it's not going to be perfect with it. I think it's the powders that it really does great with. The eyeshadow base, since it already had some like, yeah, since it already had some like properties of being fixed, it already kind of helped with that. But overall, I'm just trying to demonstrate and trying to like say that it can be used for multiple things and not just for making it into an eyeliner, which I think a lot of people use it for. But I on my list I have 7 things, and hopefully I've talked through about 7 things. And I feel like if you mix it in even with like cream blushes or cream bronzers, you can even up like the staying power of those as well. Even eyeshadow products, which I don't use a ton of, you can also use it with that too. So honestly, nearly everything on your face it can be used for. I don't know if there's anything I've mentioned that it isn't used for. I didn't put on any foundation today, but you can mix a few drops in with your foundation too. So yeah, I think this is like just a great option. I know a lot of people use like, or at least the hack is out there about using like a fixing setting spray to do nearly the same thing. But I think just with the little bit amount that you need for a lot of things, this is a great option. So I'm going to wrap up now. I hope that you found this video interesting, or at least gives you, lets you know that there's an option out there. This is so old school. A lot of the videos I was looking up just to kind of do my research on like who has talked about this before is like 10, 11 years old. And this has not been talked a ton about recently. And so I hope that this gives you at least a little bit of an idea of what this can do. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye.